everyone, a very good evening and welcome to this live session on reasoning ability for the upcoming IBPS Clerks exam brought to you by TalentSprint. Well, at the outset, a very happy Diwali to you all. I hope all of you have had a great time this Diwali, and I'm sure you have also spent time preparing for your upcoming bank and SSC exams during the festival season, because Diwali would come every year, but these opportunities may not, right? So we have to make sure that you give your best shot possible in this attempt itself, right? And like you all know, for all these competitive exams, practice is the key, right? The more you practice, the easier it gets, okay? So keep practicing and I'm sure you will do well in your exams. If we look at the upcoming exams, I think what we have immediately next is the IBPS RRB Office Assistance exam or Officers Scale 1 exam, which is scheduled on November 5 and 6. Right, and then what follows is the IBPS RRB Office Assistance exam, which is again for the clerical cadre recruitment in the regional rural banks, right? So that will be done over 2 weekends, and then next comes the IBPS Clerks exam. So if you see, all these three exams are largely the same in terms of syllabus, right? What changes is the pattern of examination. Now today's session is on reasoning ability for the IBPS Clerks exam, which is the third exam from now. But that doesn't mean that what we discuss today will not be helpful in the other exams, right? Because reasoning ability is a part of all the bank exams, right? So it is equally important for your RRB exams as well, and I'm sure all of you understand this fact, right? So I think keep preparing well. There's only 1 week left for your Office Assistance exam. I'm sure all of you have got your admit card downloaded by now, and you know your exact slot, the date and time of your exam, and the venue, which is again very important to figure out before you head for the exam. So prepare well, and I'm sure all of you will perform well in the exam, given that you have been working hard over the last few months, right? What we will do in the session today is, like usual, solve the previous year's paper. You know that solving previous year's paper is an important part of your preparation, right? Not that similar questions would be asked, not that the same pattern will be followed, but it is always good to be prepared with that, right? Prepared with the previous paper, so that you are, that's like, it will have a psychological effect in your performance in the exam, right? I mean, even without solving these previous papers, you may go and take the exam and you may, qualify it, right? But if you don't solve the previous papers, then somewhere in the back of your mind it keeps coming again and again that, okay, I should have done that, maybe that will help me perform better in the exam. So it is with that objective that we are going to solve some questions from the previous year's paper of the IBPS Clerks exam, okay? But before that, I think let me quickly get an understanding of how your preparation is going on for all these exams. I'm sure very shortly the IBPS PO preliminary results would be declared, and you will have to get ready for your mains examination as well. And by the way, the IBPS Clerks results have been declared last week, right? Day before Diwali, and I'm sure at least a few of you here have made through this IBPS Clerks final results, right? I mean, it was a long awaited one, got delayed by almost 3 months, most probably because of the confusion on the interviews there. Should we or should we not have the interview part? But I think finally the decision was to scrap interview and just declare the final result based on your mains examination performance. And we have got an overwhelming response from our students, right? Already about 196 students from TalentSprint have confirmed that they've qualified, and we have also verified the results. So they are like getting their dream bank job this year, and I'm sure many others are yet to respond, right? So numbers would improve. Okay, so Swati says it's going good. The question was, how is your preparation for all these upcoming exams? Shushant Kumar says, I wanted to know that do your institute also provide classes in the institutes? Okay, so well, Sushant, your query is if we have physical centers where we train students. Well, not really. We have exhaustive program, online program, and a pen drive option available, which will help you get ready for these exams sitting at home, right? So you can find out all the details on our website, which is talentsprint.com, and see if you would like to enroll. Yeah, so Stravanan also says the preparation is going good. Azhar says, सर एक बात पूछना था, मेंस में कौन सा पार्ट फर्स्ट आएगा एंड कौन सा उसके बाद आएगा, प्लीज़ बता दीजिए. वेल अजहर, आप मुझे ये बताइए कि ये जान लेने से आपको कैसे हेल्प होगी, राइट? चाहे कोई भी पार्ट पहले आए, आई एम श्योर कि आपकी स्ट्रैटेजी उस पर डिपेंड नहीं करेगी, राइट? पहले क्या होता था कि सारे सेक्शंस के लिए एक कॉम्पोजिट टाइम दिया जाता था, राइट? सभी सेक्शंस के लिए हमें 2 आवर्स का टाइम दिया जाता था, मान लीजिए. तब आपको ये डिसाइड करना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है कि आप पहले कौन सा सेक्शन अटेम्प्ट करोगे, राइट? क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड या फिर रीजनिंग या फिर इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज या फिर जनरल अवेयरनेस. एंड सबकी अपनी अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी होती है डिपेंडिंग ऑन वन स्ट्रेंथ्स एंड वीकनेसेस. अब क्योंकि इस साल से IBPS और SBI दोनों के एग्जाम्स में एक मेजर चेंज आया है, वो ये है कि मेंस एग्जामिनेशन में हर सेक्शन का अपना एक टाइम होगा, राइट? पहले आपको कॉम्पोजिट टाइम दिया जाता था 2 आवर्स का, तो चाहे आप 1.5 आवर्स क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड पे स्पेंड करें, आपको कोई रोकेगा नहीं, राइट? लेकिन अब क्लियरली डिफाइन किया गया है कि क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड में आपको इतने मिनट्स दिए जाएंगे, रीजनिंग में इतने मिनट्स होंगे, इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में इतने मिनट्स होंगे. तो क्योंकि टाइम्स ऑलरेडी फिक्स्ड हैं, सेक्शन का ऑर्डर भी फिक्स होगा. अब किस ऑर्डर में सेक्शंस आएंगे ऑनेस्टली मुझे नहीं पता है, राइट? आई मीन स्ट्रेट आंसर टू योर क्वेश्चन, मुझे नहीं पता कि किस ऑर्डर में सेक्शंस पूछे जाएंगे, राइट? SBI का एग्जाम्पल लेकर शायद उसे कंसिडर कर सके कि शायद सेम पैटर्न है, लेकिन आई डोंट थिंक उससे आपके स्ट्रैटेजी पर कोई इफेक्ट होगा या फिर आपकी स्ट्रैटेजी उसके बेसिस पर चेंज होगी, राइट? क्योंकि टाइम फिक्स्ड है, आपको उतना टाइम स्पेंड करना ही है, राइट? अगर कॉम्पोजिट टाइम दिया जाए तब ये मैटर करता है कि आप किस ऑर्डर में या किस सीक्वेंस में सेक्शंस को अटेम्प्ट करेंगे, लेकिन आई डोंट थिंक अब उसकी कोई ज़रूरत है. सो इफ यू कैन क्लियरली टेल मी कि क्या प्रॉब्लम है आपकी या फिर व्हाट आर यू ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड, देन मे बी आई विल बी एबल टू हेल्प यू बेटर. बट एज सच आई एम वेरी ऑनेस्ट, I'll be very honest, I do not know in which order the sections would come, right? Manikandan says, I'm preparing well, so surely I'll clear all the exams. Well, that's the spirit. I'm sure you'll do well in the exams. But again, don't take anything easy, right? Don't leave any stone unturned. Keep practicing, right? Yeah. Siddhartha says, are we going to discuss the mains paper of Clerk 2015? Well, Siddhartha, I think we'll do that for the mains exam. I mean, now that we are focusing on the prelims paper, we have chosen some questions from the prelims paper itself. I think in the quantitative aptitude session as well that we had a couple of weeks back on the IBPS Clerks pattern, we had discussed the prelims paper of I mean, I think, yeah, one point is until last year there was no mains or prelims paper, right? There was only one paper. So, or was there 2 stages? I'm sorry, I'm confused. Whatever, I think there was only one phase. There were not 2 phases. Or maybe they were. But we have the prelims paper or the single paper that was asked last year. Pavan Kumar says, there is the PDF file. Well, there's no PDF file. I'll quickly share my screen with all of you, which has got a presentation of these questions. We'll choose some of those and start answering. But before that, if you have any specific query about your preparation or anything very specific to the upcoming exams. Okay, Siddhartha has confirmed that there were 2 phases. So Siddhartha, we have chosen the prelims paper in that case. Azhar says, SBI के PO में कैसे आया था बता दीजिए. Well, ये मुझे एक बार चेक करना होगा अजहर. I'll be dishonest अगर मैं बोलूँ कि मुझे पता है, right? I think it was I vaguely remember it was English language first, or we can find it. I'm sure Google करने से पता चल जाएगा. I'll let you know. Let us get into the session, start solving some questions. Meanwhile, I'll find out the exact sequence and let you know. Vishal says, give us free access for Diwali offer. Well, Vishal, I think free access to nahi, but we had a Diwali offer which was a flat 40% off on all our programs. You could have exploited that, but I think you've lost the opportunity now. The offer is closed. And yeah, so that's about it. Sridhar has asked a question. Sir, syllogism will come or not in the IBPS clerks and RRB clerk? Well, Sridhar, I think looks like you are not you are new to these sessions, but if you had participated in some of my earlier sessions, you would probably know what my answer is to these questions, right? Well, syllogism would come or not I don't know. I think, remember, the most predictable thing about bank exams or competitive exams is unpredictability. I mean, may come, may not come. Like we had seen in the SBI exams that there was no questions from syllogism. Many people assume that the same thing would happen in IBPS PO as well, but IBPS PO preliminary exam had 5 questions on syllogisms. So we can't really answer these questions. I mean, I don't have, or I would say I don't know whether syllogism would come or not. What I would say is ideally, or an ideal reasoning ability paper should have questions from syllogs, and that's the best topic in my view, right? Shubham says, I messed up in syllogism in IBPS PO prelims. Well, yeah, that's disappointing, Shubham. But what I appreciate is you at least realize that you've, screwed it up in that particular section. So focus more now on that topic and ensure that you don't repeat the mistake. Okay, so let's start discussing these previous questions, and we'll come back to some questions like how many questions should we attempt in RRBP out of 80 and all that. So I think the last 5-10 minutes of the session today I'll focus on the strategy for these exams, right? You know that there's a completely new scheme of examination now for IBPS RRB exams, right? Only 2 sections in the preliminary phase: quantitative aptitude and reasoning. So just 2 sections. In fact, strictly speaking, it is not quantitative aptitude, it is numerical ability and reasoning ability. So just 2 questions, 40 questions in each section, so which makes it to 80 questions and 45 minutes. So a completely new scheme. We'll discuss about this towards the end of the session. Let us now look at the questions that were asked in the last year's IBPS Clerks prelims paper. So I'm sharing my screen now, and here we go. Well, we have a few questions in the list here, right? Like the first one you see was from arrangement, right? And since it was a clerical exam, there was this question on simple circular arrangement. It was not a complex one. Then there were questions on coding and decoding, right? There were 5 questions on coded inequalities. Now, coded inequalities, is the easiest topic that one can get in the reasoning ability section, right? You cannot expect anything easier than this. There are just 3 rules that one needs to follow to be able to answer these questions. Then questions from blood relations, etc., right? Alphabet, ranking, ordering, logical series, and there were many others as well. So we'll choose some of these questions today and solve, as many as possible in the next 40 minutes that we have. So let's start with the simple circular arrangement. See, the idea is you may find the question to be very simple. Don't complain about that, because that's what was asked last year. So the point is not whether you'll get the answer to this question or not, or whether you'll be able to complete the arrangement or not. The point is how quickly do you get the arrangement, right? Now, since this is a simple one, I think if you do it really quick and smartly, you should be able to finish it in about 90 seconds, not more than that. And I think that's what you must target for in your actual examination as well. However, since we are practicing here, I would give you about 3 to 4 minutes, and your time starts now. So 4 minutes for this one. I'll show the questions later, the 5 questions that were asked along with this. First, complete the arrangement. Okay. So 4 minutes. Okay. Azhar says this is the difference between others' live sessions and yours, that you are a very true person. I like it so much. Well, thank you for that appreciation, Azhar. But let me tell you, I would not think even for a second, even to lie, if that will benefit you in any way, right? More than my honesty here, I think the reason why I don't like to talk about what questions would come, what would be the expected cutoff, the number of questions that you must attempt in these exams to clear your cutoff, etc., is because how does that help? I have never understood how one will benefit out of it. Like today, if I tell you that you have to attempt minimum 20 questions in each section so that you clear the cutoff, I'm sure all of you will take it as a standard and try and do that. And in that process, you may screw up your whole exam, right? It all depends on what type of questions have been asked, right? The cutoff is not pre-decided. It depends on how all others have performed. So I always feel that these are things which are not in our control. So let's not worry about it. What is in our control is our preparation. Okay. So to all those who are asking me about what topics would come, how many attempts should we make, etc., like SP Arun has asked, what will be the prelims cutoff for RRB? Well, Arun, I have no clue about that. What is a good attempt? I would say there are 80 questions. You must attempt all the 80 questions and come back. 80 questions in 45 minutes sounds, unreasonable, but I mean, you must aim for that. Done? Yeah, I think Dhruv Kumar has done it. Raji has also done it. And so has Manikandan. Waiting for others to complete this. Raji is from Tamil Nadu, by the way. And I think Anu, Azhar and Pravi have also done it. Pravi has also given the answer, WSXVTYUC. Yeah, I think many others. Soumya, Naina Agarwal, then Swati, Dharini, Shilpi, Sneha, Shubhendu, Srividya, Shubham and Aman. Now, PPM cases, do you think this kind of questions can be expected in this year's IBPS Clerks? I would say, yeah. I mean, usually we find that the questions asked in clerical exam are simple, not like complex arrangements that are asked in the PO level exams. And even if the complex arrangement questions are asked, you know what the solution is, right? Skip and go to the next one. Never attempt complex arrangement questions in the exam. So that is the reason I think I would actually say that it is very easy to solve complex arrangements questions. What is the solution? Don't solve. I mean, it may sound a little crazy to some of you, but believe me, this strategy really works. Never try to attempt complex arrangement questions in the exam. Solve the rest and just move to the next section. Okay, so I think many of you have already cracked it. I can also see some of you posting the order in which these persons would be arranged. So let's quickly take it up and look at the 5 questions that were asked. Now see what it says. S, T, U, V, W, X, Y and Z are sitting around a circular table facing the center. So the best part is all of them are facing the center, right? It would become a little complex when we know that some of these are facing center and others are facing outwards. But here I think all of them are facing center, but not necessarily in the same order. Okay. And then the data starts, right? Clues that are given to us. S sits third to the right of T. Only 3 people sit between U and X, and so on. So let's start working on it. What do you do? First step is count. How many persons are there? How many persons are there? 8 persons, right? S, T, U, V, W, X, Y and Z. So let's draw a circle and mark 8 positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now read the first point. S sits third to the right of T. See, you know that all these guys are facing center. What happens when the persons are facing center? Left is always clockwise and right is anti-clockwise, right? A person who is facing the center, left for him would be in the clockwise direction, right would be in the anti-clockwise direction. Here all the persons are facing center, so for all of them left is clockwise and the right is anti-clockwise. It would be the opposite if persons are facing outwards, right? When a person faces outwards, left becomes anti-clockwise and right becomes clockwise. So just remember that small direction point here, because that's the key. Otherwise you'll not be able to move. Left and right for center facing arrangements and outward facing arrangements. So left is clockwise, right is anti-clockwise. Here left is anti-clockwise and right is clockwise, right? Now read the first point here. S sits third to the right of T. Now you know that the advantage in circular arrangements is you can start from wherever you want, right? Starting is never a problem in circular arrangements. Why? There is no fixed first position. Like, can you tell me which of these 8 positions is the first one? Anyone can be taken as the first one, right? Because it's a closed loop. Okay. So, I mean, these details and all you can understand very clearly when you go through our videos, right? We have videos on all these topics. So just look at those videos if you want to understand the actual reasoning behind all this. But the point says S sits third to the right of T. So we will take T at the bottom of the circle. Now why bottom? I would say just check the video out, right? We don't have enough time here. So just go with the point, right? S sits third to the right of T. So assume that T is at the bottom, right? S sits third to the right. Right of T is anti-clockwise like we have discussed. So S is third to the right. First, second and third. Right, first, second and third. Anti-clockwise is this side. So first, second and third, S would come here. S sits third to the right of T. Look at the next point. Only 3 people sit between U and X. Only 3 people sit between U and X. Now if you had solved some questions from arrangements, circular arrangements, you would know that when there are 8 persons to be arranged around a circular table, and if one of the statements says that only 3 people sit between, you know, one person and the other, then those 2 persons would be sitting opposite to each other. You're getting it? Those 2 persons would be sitting opposite each other. Why? See, let's try with some position. Like for example, let's say this is U's position. We are just assuming this. Now it says there are 3 persons between U and X. Now whether you go clockwise or anti-clockwise, X would always come here. Go clockwise, 1, 2, 3, X comes here. Anti-clockwise, 1, 2, 3, X comes here. This is because there are total of 8 persons. If you take 3 on either sides, then U and X will be the opposite persons. You're getting it? We are trying to balance that 8 here. So 3 on this side, 3 on the other side, and these 2 would become opposite. So as soon as you finish reading the statement, with statement only 3 people sit between U and X, you should understand that U and X are going to be opposite to each other, right? Now opposite to each other, there are many possibilities. You can take U and X in these 2 positions. You can take U and X in these 2 positions, right? And that's it. I think you cannot take in these 2 positions because S is already seated here, and again in this pair because T is seated here. So there are 2 possibilities. In fact, 4: UX or XU, UX or XU. Now there is no point in trying out all the 4 possibilities, right? You would end up wasting a lot of time. So maybe you can, just block UX here, these 2 positions for U and X. Take one more arrangement, block UX in the other one, and try to complete it. But let's just look at the next statement. The next statement is also about U, so this will give us more clues, right? U is neither an immediate neighbor of S nor of T. U is neither an immediate neighbor of S nor of T. Now what do you understand from this? U would not come in these 4 positions. U is neither an immediate neighbor of S, so you cannot occupy these 2 positions, nor of T. You cannot come in these 2 positions. So there are only 2 possibilities. Either U comes here or here. And based on that, we'll get the position of T. So I think what is easiest here is to, quickly duplicate whatever we have done so far. T is fixed, S is fixed. In one arrangement, take U on this position. In the other one, take U here. Because we know that these are the 2 possible cases. Either U comes here or here. So take U here or here. And accordingly mark the position of X. We know that 3 people between U and X, which makes U sitting opposite to X. So X will come here according to case 1. And X would come here according to case 2. Right? X should be opposite to U. You're getting it? So that's about this. 4 positions have been marked already. Look at the next statement. Only 3 people sit between T and W. Only 3 people sit between T and W. Now, from the point that we have discussed already, W should be opposite to T. And since T is already marked, we can straight away put W in the top position, right? T is in the bottom position, W should be opposite. So in the topmost position. Z sits on the immediate right of W. Now this again is very straight. Z sits on the immediate right of W. What would be right of W? Right of W would be anti-clockwise. We have discussed in a center facing arrangement, right is anti-clockwise. Now if you look at case 1, both the immediate positions of W, immediate neighboring positions of W are occupied. On one side we have U, on the other side we have S. But this point says that Z sits on the immediate right of W, which looks impossible in case 1 because immediate right of W is already occupied by U. So clearly there is no position for Z according to case 1, and then this is wrong. See, we know that one of these 2 is wrong, so the first one is wrong, right? Very clear that the first one is wrong. Look at the second one. Z sits on the immediate right of W. Immediate right of W should be this position, right? Immediate right of W, anti-clockwise, and this is available, so Z comes here. Last point, V sits third to the left of W. V sits third to the left of W. Now W is already seated here. Third to the left of W. What is left? Clockwise. First, second, third. V would come here. And there's only one position left out, which can be filled very easily, right? S, T, U, V have been marked, right? S, T, U, V have been marked. And W, X, and Z have been marked. So Y is left out. Y comes here. So this is the complete arrangement. So if you read it from T, in the clockwise direction, it would be T, Y, U, Z, W, S, X, V. Right? T, Y, U, Z, W, X, X, V. Now, doesn't matter. Maybe some of you have started with V in the bottom position. Some of you would have started with W in the bottommost position. So don't feel that your answer is wrong. The arrangement is correct as long as the sequence that you have got is similar to what we have here in the clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. Right? So done. Now don't go by the length of explanation. Maybe I've taken about 5-7 minutes to explain this, but understand, I was not solving the question, I was explaining you the solution, and hence it has taken so much of time. If I have to do it myself, I'm sure we can finish this off in less than 90 seconds, and if I can do it in 90 seconds or less than that, I'm sure you all can also do that, right? So maybe 90 seconds for completing the arrangement, another 30 seconds for answering those 5 questions. Within 2 minutes, 90 plus 30, 120 seconds. Within 2 minutes, you would bag 5 marks. And that's what is the speed required, right? Reasoning is actually not time consuming, right? Very easy. You have to just make sure that you choose your questions wisely. Otherwise, it is going to get complex. So what I'll do now is quickly show you the questions that were asked along with this. Let us look at the questions and see what the answers are. I mean, answering questions here is not a complex task. It's like cakewalk, right? Once the arrangement is done, it's very, very easy. So look at the first one. What is the question here? Yeah, done a lot of scribbling which has come over the questions. Let me just clear it off. Yeah, the first one. How many people are seated between S and Z when counted from the right of S? Between S and Z when counted from the right of S. Right of S is anti-clockwise. So between S and Z, how many persons do we have? Only one, and that is W. So answer is 1, option 5. Who amongst the following represent the immediate neighbors of S? Immediate neighbors of S are W and X. W and X, which is option 4. You see? I mean, less than a couple of seconds for each of these questions here. Let's go to the next one. Next 2 questions. What are the next 2 questions here? Yeah, look at this one. Who among the following sits second to the left of Y? Second to the left of Y. Now Y is here. Left of Y would be clockwise. Second to the left. So first and second. Second to the left of Y is Z. Option 4. Right? Now comes the next one, which is a very popular question type in circular arrangements. Right? Finding out the odd one. Read what the question says. 4 of the following 5 are alike in a certain way based on their positions in the arrangement, right? In the given arrangement. And so they form a group. So basically 5 options have been given. And the question says that 4 out of these 5 options are similar based on their arrangement in this, group here. We have to find out which is the one that does not belong to those 4. Does not belong to that group of 4. Try that out. I mean, there's no shortcut. You just have to go by the options and figure out which is the odd one, right? So this position was for W. Yeah. So look at the first option now. Just work on their positions. U, Y, V. U, Y, V. Look at the sequence. U, right? We have U on the right, leftmost position. U, Y, and V. So try and understand the pattern there. See, the pattern is important. Pattern of their positioning is important, right? So U, Y, V. So we have U. Immediate right is Y, and then second right of Y is V. U, Y, jump, and then V. You getting it? U, go in the right direction, right? Go in the right direction, anti-clockwise direction. U, then Y, immediate next is Y, and then jump one position, we get V. So that's the pattern. Look at the next option, T, V, Y, T, V, Y, T, V. So again, if you see T, immediate right is V. But when you say Y, we are coming back. So we are going on the right first, and then we are coming back to the left. So T, immediate right is V, and then jump towards the left by one position to get Y. So if you observe within the first 2 options itself, there is a difference. The first option has one pattern, second option has some other pattern. Now that we have figured out that the first 2 are different, it is obvious that the remaining 3 options, 3, 4, and 5 will either be similar to option 1 or similar to option 2. If they are similar to option 1, then 1, 3, 4, 5 will make a group and 2 will become the odd one. If the remaining 3 are similar to option 2, then 2, 3, 4, 5 will make a group and 1 will be the odd one. And the best part is, you need not verify all the 3 options now. Just verify one of these, either 3 or 4 or 5. If, let's say we are verifying third one, right? And if third one matches with the first one, then 2 is the odd one. Because obviously if third and first have matched, 4 and 5 should also match with these 2. So just check for one of these options, right? If third option matches with 1, then 2 is the odd one. If third option matches with 2, then 1 is the odd one. So let's check that. S, W, U. S, you go to the right. W, jump one position and continue. You'll get U. Is it not similar to the first one? Yes. Yes or no? The first one and the third one are similar. So it's obvious that the fourth and fifth also will be similar to these 2. So the odd one is option 2. You're getting it? Odd one is option 2. And let me tell you again, explanation has taken so much of time, right? When you do it yourself, it becomes very, very easy. I mean, it wouldn't be taking so much time. And the last question here, which amongst the following is true regarding V as per the given arrangement? Which amongst the following is true regarding V? So look at the options again. We have to find out which is true regarding V as per the given arrangement. So just look at the options and mark your answer. I mean, there's nothing logical to be done here. Just verify from the options. So first option, none of the given statements is true. Now this would be our answer only if 2, 3, 4, 5 fail. So let's keep option 1 on hold. Look at second option. Only 3 people sit between V and S. Only 3 people sit between V and S? No. This side we have 1 person. If you go in the other side, we have 5 persons, right? So second option is wrong. U sits second to the right of V. U sits second to the right of V? No. U is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth to the right of V. Sorry, fifth to the right of V, right? First, second, third, fourth, fifth. So second to the right of V is wrong. V sits second to the right of V. Sorry, V sits second to the right of Y. Does V sit second to the right of Y? Yes. You see, Y is seated here. Second to the right of Y. Right is anti-clockwise. So first and second is V. So V sits second to the right of Y. Option 4 is correct. And now you need not verify option 5 because you have got the odd one. I mean, you have found what is true regarding V, right? Anyway, let's quickly just verify this as well. Only 2 people sit between V and Z. No. V and Z are opposite, so 3 people. I mean, it won't take more than 2-3 seconds to verify an option here. So option 4 is the answer. So overall, I would say 2 minutes, which will give you 5 marks in case of simple circular arrangements. But the key here is you must know the directions properly, what is left, what is right, etc. And you should know what type of statements are asked and how do we use them. Like for example, you know, A is third to the left of B and fourth to the right of C is one type of statement. A is third to the left of B. Who is fourth to the right of B? Who is fourth to the right of C is a completely different statement. Although there's only one word that has changed here, but the meaning is completely different, right? So you must be very clear with what are the different types of statements asked and what does it mean and how do we use it on the arrangement. All right. So if you're clear with the approach, see, I mean, reasoning is more to do with practice. It's not like quantitative aptitude where we have a shortcut formula or a trick where you substitute the values and, you know, simplify to get the answer. It's not that. Every question from circular arrangement would be different. No 2 questions would be similar. I mean, unless we just change the names and give the same data, all right? So the point is every question is different, and this kind of a case, the approach is important. So you must know the right approach. Reasoning is all about having the right approach for answering the question or having the right approach for skipping the question. You must know that, okay, this is not worth solving. I'll skip it. I think your score in reasoning depends more on, you know, skipping the questions than answering the questions. I mean, you should be very clear with that. The one reason why most of the students lack in reasoning ability or fail to score more in reasoning ability section is not because it's not because they have not learned all the topics or they're not very thorough with the concepts. They don't know the right approach. It is because they fall in the trap of choosing the wrong questions. All right. So, like a good batsman, you must know which balls have to be skipped. You know, respect the ball, respect the bowler. So, I mean, that's like a good ball. I'll not hit it. I know that there's a chance I'll get caught there. So I'll skip it, right? Skip the questions here, right? Good question will not solve. We want the easier ones, right? Remember, time management is very, very important here. Just because you know a solution or just because you know how to solve a question doesn't mean that you start solving it, okay? This needs a lot of practice. Although it looks simple, I may also sound repetitive. Many of you may feel that how many times will you tell the same point? But fact is fact. I mean, I can't change it, right? It holds true even today, and I'm sure it will hold true until the whole way of recruitment changes in the banks and, you know, other competitive jobs. You're getting me? You have to choose your questions wisely, right? So that's about this. Let me just see if you have any queries on this. Raji says, you're right, sir, I have failed in SBI pure due to this reason. Yes, I'm not making a story here. I know the performance of my students throughout my career. I've learned from that this is what actually kills your score. So skipping is very important. I mean, that is one of the best methods of answering questions in reasoning, at least in reasoning. Okay, anything else? Did you all get that? Okay, Naina Agarwal seems to have asked a question on quantitative aptitude here, but Naina, I'm really sorry, I would not be able to take it up. One, because we have very limited time. I already have questions planned from the previous year's paper. Two, it is from quantitative aptitude, and I would like to stick to the subject of reasoning in the session today. But don't worry, if you have enrolled for the TalentSprint program, you have a discussion forum available where you can post your questions. I'm sure your fellow students will answer most of your questions, and those which are left unanswered or typical or are like a little complex will be taken up in the live doubts clarification sessions that we have. So just go post your question in the forum if you have access to the forums here, right? If you have enrolled for the program. Anyway, so I hope all of you have followed this. There's no confusion on this, right? Okay, so let me just read out a few comments. I was expecting these. Yeah, so Pawan Kumar has posted that usually nowadays a person sitting outside inside comes now. Can we expect easier one like this? Well, Pawan Kumar, I think directly or indirectly the same question is being asked again to me, that can we expect this question? No idea. I can only hope that a simple arrangement is asked in the exam. I mean, simple circular, simple linear. But they can also ask a question on inside outside. I mean, two-way circular arrangements. But how do you solve it? SKIP, skip, right? It may not sound very, or it may actually sound very crazy and not a very good technique. But start trying out those questions. You'll get to know why I'm saying so, right? Anything else? Sushant says my quant is very good from earlier. Just okay. Oh, then I'm sorry. I think because numbers were involved, I thought it is a aptitude based question. I think it was a question from logical series. I realized that after explaining what I wanted to say there, but you can do it yourself, and I'm sure. PPMK says, is it wise to attend data sufficiency complex in brackets and arguments questions again complex in brackets before sitting arrangements? Well, PPMK, the one thing that I don't understand is how would you know how complex the data sufficiency question is unless you try it out. I mean, in arrangements it's very easy. Based on the length or based on the first few lines, you know that okay, this is going to be easy or complex. But data sufficiency, I would say try out. I mean, sometimes data sufficiency is tricky, but usually it's not. I mean, easy to crack questions. I mean, easy to solve questions from that topic. You have to be again very clear with the flow there, the approach there, right? Data sufficiency is one topic where you need to know what is the first step, then what is the second step, then should you combine the statements or not. You know, that whole process has to be very clearly set in your mind, and you must have practiced questions on that. Then it would be easy. I think data sufficiency is not something that you have to skip. Now, arguments and assumptions and those topics, critical reasoning topics, I would say give it a shot, but don't again get entrapped there. I mean, sometimes what happens in questions from arguments is that two options look very close, and we end up wasting a lot of time just deciding which one to be marked as the answer. So give it a try. 15-20 seconds, you should be able to read the options and the question there. Right? Elimination is a very important technique. You don't have to find out the right answer. Try to find out what are the wrong answers and eliminate the 4 wrong ones. Whichever you are left with can be marked as a correct answer. But remember, questions from these topics are usually perception based. I mean, it's like an opinion, right? So he's trying to understand what your opinion is. Your opinion may or may not match with what exactly the examiner thinks there. So a little risky, but not something that you have to skip. Now let me share the screen again and present. Okay, so we are done with this. Let me see what more do we have. I think these are simple questions from coding and decoding. We have solved these questions in the past as well, so you can write yourself. And coded inequalities is like, I would say a gunshot topic and very, very easy. Easiest topic in reasoning ability. So, again, 5 questions from coded inequalities here will not take more than 60 seconds, I would say. 60 seconds for all the 5 questions. You must know the trick, those 3 rules that one has to follow. Please watch the video for those 3 rules and practice a few questions. I'm sure this is very, very simple. What is interesting is this blood relation set. Let's try this out. Question from blood relations, model 2 in fact, right? This is model 2 of blood relations where relationships between different pairs is given. We have to make the family tree out of it and answer the questions followed. So 2 questions, I'll give you about 2 minutes for attempting these 2 and your time starts now. Vijay says, could you please suggest that this sitting arrangement question will start at begin or last minute in reasoning section, as it takes more time for me sometimes. Well, Vijay, that's the point. I think you should be able to decide how much time would a question take, or basically is it a simple one or a complex one. I am not too sure about what you're actually asking, but from what I understand, your question is, should we attempt this in the beginning or at the end? I would say, since it was a simple circular arrangement, you should attempt it whenever you see it, whenever you come across it. But if it is a complex one, skip and mark it for review. If time permits, we'll come back. Okay, so Priyanka, Sravanan, Vikram Reddy, Siddhartha, Shilpi, they've marked the answers here. Siddhartha says the first one is cannot be determined. Shilpi says first one is cannot be determined. The second also is cannot be determined. And so has Azhar marked it, right? Vikram Reddy also says it should be 5-4. Swati says first one is 5. Manikandan says both are cannot be determined. Shilpi says both cannot be determined. Punita says the first one is option 5, cannot be determined, and the second one is option 1, daughter. Dharini and Azhar have got cannot be determined for both the questions. Bhuvaneshwari has got grandmother as the answer, option 4. Shravanan has got grandmother and daughter as the answers. So has Siddhartha. Okay, so time now to discuss this. I think 2 minutes up, and let's try it out. So clearly for question number 1, I think a majority of you have got cannot be determined as answer. For second one here, while many said cannot be determined as the answer for second one too, but some said answer should be daughters. I think that's the confusion. Second question is where there's a debate. So let's try it out. Look at the statements now. P is the father of D. Now you know how to draw a family diagram, right? All those conventions and the nomenclature and the rules that we follow have to be followed here. I mean, rules that we have discussed have to be followed here. Now, how do you get to know the rules? Just check the blood relations video, right? We have discussed everything in detail there. Let me quickly draw the diagram now. P is the father of D. P is the father of D. P is the father of D. So clearly there is a 1 generation gap between P and D. P comes above because he is in the upper generation. P is the father of D. Remember, D is the child of P. Here we have no clue about the gender of D. D can be son or daughter. Usually, what happens is when we say P is the father of D, the immediate reaction by some students is that okay, D is the son of P, but it's not correct. It need not be correct. D can be son or daughter. Both are possible. So don't mark D as a son, right? Gender is not known to us. I'm sure you understand the meaning of this plus here, right? I mean, usually for representing males we use this symbol. For females we use the minus symbol. I mean, you can no specific intentions here. You can use whichever symbol you want, but that's what is usually followed. Now P is the father of D. Next, D is the only son of T. D is the only son of T. See, we already know that D is the child of P. Now the next statement says D is the only son of T. Now one thing that is clear from this statement is D is the son. So far we have been trying to understand figure out the gender of D, right? Now it's very clear. D is the son of T. So D is the son, male child. So D is the son of P. But this statement says D is the only son of T. See, if D is the son of P and also the son of T, it is obvious that P and T are a married couple, right? P and T represents a married couple. So now we can say that T is the wife of P. T is the wife of P. Yes or no? So P is the father of D. D is the only son of T. So obviously P and T has to be a married couple. And since we knew that P is the father, T has to be the mother. So gender wise, it's all clear. T is the daughter of J. T is the daughter of J. T is the daughter of J, right? So T is the daughter of J. Again, remember, J's gender is not known. J can be grandfather. J can be father or mother of T. Both are possible, right? As of now, we would say J is the parent of T, right? J is the parent of T. So T is the daughter of J. Next statement. T is the mother of G. T is the mother of G. Now look at this. We already know that T is the mother of D. This statement says T is the mother of G. So obviously D and G are siblings. D and G are siblings. Yes or no? So this way also you find that T is the mother of G. Now is G a boy or girl? Not very clear. Look at the next statement, but G is the sister of V. So clearly G is a girl and sister of V. So V is the other sibling, right? V is the other sibling. So that's the diagram basically, right? In the first generation we have J, whose gender is not known to us, right? Can be father or mother of T. Then we have P and T, which is a married couple. P is the husband, T is the wife. And this married couple has got 3 children, D, G and V, of which D is a boy, G is a girl, or basically D is a son, G is a daughter. V's gender, I'm sure many of you felt, is not known to us, but it is indirectly very clearly given that V also would be a daughter. How do we know this? Just focus on this word only.
This is a very, very important word here, right? What is the question? Look, what is the statement? The statement says that D is the only son of T. D is the only son of T. Remember, T has got 3 children, of which D is the only son, which you have already marked. D is the son. Now, if D is the only son, it's obvious that G and V are daughters. The other two have to be daughters. So if G is daughter, V also is a daughter here. Yes or no? D is the only son. Remaining two have to be daughters. So very, trickily here, it has been mentioned that V is a girl child, right? I mean, I'm sure many of you felt that V's gender is not known, but it is actually given to us. And now the confusions about the question 2 are cleared, right? Look at the first one, by the way. If G is married to B, if J is married to B, then how is B related to G? If J is married to B, J is married to B. So let's say J and B become a married couple. Then how is B related to G? See, what is the relationship between B and G in that case? G's mother's parent. Understand, the genders of B and J are not known to us. They are a married couple, but whose wife and whose husband is not clear here. B can be wife or husband. I mean, if B is wife, J is husband. If B is husband, then J is the wife. So the point is, the person B is a grandparent of G, right? G is mother's parent, grandparent. But is it grandfather or grandmother? Not very clear. So how is B related to G? Cannot be determined. It can be grandfather or grandmother. Both are possible. And hence we say cannot be determined is the answer. Yes or no? So option 5 is the answer for first question here. Cannot be determined. Look at the next one. How is V related to P? Now most of you marked the answer as cannot be determined because V's gender was not given, or that's what you thought about it. But then, like we have discussed, V's gender is indirectly mentioned in the question. And now that we know the gender of V, it's very easy to answer. How is V related to P? V is the daughter of P. V is the child of P and V is the female child. So V is the daughter of P. V is the daughter of P. So option 1 would be the answer. Only one point which you have to be careful about while answering such questions is that the direction that you're looking at. I mean, the question says how is V related to P? Answer is daughter. If you reverse this, how is P related to V? If you interchange these two positions, how is P related to V? P will be the father of V. And see, that's actually one of the options here. So don't get confused, right? V related to P. So V is the daughter of P. P related to V. P is the father of V. So be careful about that. Option 1, daughter would be the answer. So all those who have marked cannot be determined, please check your solution. You have missed this keyword only here, right? Option 5 cannot be determined for the first one, and option 1, daughter, for the next one. All right. And I think that's about these 2 questions from blood relations. I hope all of you have followed this. Let me quickly see if there are any comments or anything related to what we have done just now. Yeah, Vikram Reddy says, in a hurry, I lost the second one. So you have to be quick, but you should not be in a hurry that you miss out on important points here, right? Okay. So I think we're done with this, and I'm so sorry that we don't have enough time left. We are already at 6:55, so I'll have to close it here. But then remember that you can learn the solutions of all these questions through our IBPS Clerks refresher, which is actually started already. We have done a couple of sessions on quantitative aptitude, one session on reasoning ability, and one session on English language, right? There again we are solving the previous year's papers, but that's a part of our TalentSprint program, right? So if you are really interested, you can explore the details of all our programs. What all would you get, right? How many live sessions, on what topics, the number of videos, online mock tests, all these details are available on our website talentsprint.com. And you can also call our toll-free number, which is 1-800-102-9006, to get the details of all these programs. So please explore that and see if you would really like to enroll for this one. And I think what I would suggest is, whether you enroll or not, keep practicing, right? I mean, don't miss out on anything, right? These next 15-20 days that you have for upcoming exams are really very important, right? Cut down on all the other extra activities that you do. Just focus on your preparation and make the most out of it, right? Because there's no point in rejecting later. All right. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, let's quickly understand what needs to be done in this RRB exams. I mean,
there's nothing much to discuss because there are only 2 sections in the preliminary exam: quantitative aptitude, not quantitative aptitude, numerical ability and reasoning, right? Reasoning ability. 40 questions in each section with 45 minutes. Now all we need to decide is in which order will you attempt. Either it will be numerical ability followed by reasoning, or reasoning ability followed by numerical ability. That is very easy. I mean, you decide that based on your strength or weakness. I would say start with numerical ability first, and then go for reasoning. And because the time is also very limited, you have to be very, very sharp and quick. I mean, you cannot afford to waste even a single minute on anything, wrong here in this exam. I mean, even in other exams you don't have that flexibility, but here particularly because only 2 sections and 45 minutes is like it gets over within no time, or within 45 minutes. 45 minutes gets over within 45 minutes. But see, there's a difference, right? When there's a 2-hour exam or when there's a 1-hour exam, then certainly there's a 45 minutes. 45 minutes just lapses like very quick. So I would prefer, or I would go for quantitative aptitude first, followed by reasoning ability, because the scheme is completely different. We have no clue about what type of questions would be asked. But if you look at the historical data, RRB exams have usually been simpler when compared to clerical or the PO exams, right? Either you look at office assistants or officer scale 1. So that's one reason that I am assuming paper would be easy. Secondly, because there's too much of a time crunch, I'm sure the questions have to be easy. I mean, they cannot be asking very complex questions, but you never know. I mean, it's unpredictable, but I would assume that okay, you can attempt many questions, but you have to be really quick and you have to be very, very choosy. You have to choose your questions wisely, because only 45 minutes and 80 questions. It's like just about 30 seconds per question. At least earlier we had 36 seconds, but now on an average only 36 seconds per question. And there are no subjects like English language or general awareness where we can save some time. Like English language questions would not take 30 seconds, right? 36 seconds, 10 seconds per question. So there we save some time and utilize it for aptitude and reasoning. But here even that's not there. So overall, I'm telling you, it's going to be a very tough competition in terms of time management. But then if you have prepared well, if you know the techniques and shortcuts and the right approach and the smart methods, you will be able to do a good job. So start with aptitude. In my view, aptitude, I mean, not a big difference, either aptitude followed by reasoning or reasoning followed by aptitude or numerical ability. And with respect to time allocation, I would say spend around 25 minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes plus or minus, depending on how the paper is, what kind of questions are asked, and depending on your strength and weakness. But overall, about 25 minutes on numerical ability and 20 minutes on reasoning ability. The reason why I'm giving lesser time for reasoning ability here is because of these type of questions. See, if there is a simple circular arrangement, if there are 5 questions will not take 5 minutes, less than 2 minutes, right? Or if there are questions on coded inequalities, 5 questions of coded inequalities would take about 60 seconds. So though the number of questions are same, equal in both the sections, the amount of time that you spend on solving reasoning questions is usually lesser than what is needed for quantitative aptitude. And definitely there could be some questions on reasoning which we will skip straight. Like let's say there is a 5-mark question on complex arrangements. Those 5 questions are done 0 seconds. Why? You know that you will not even do it. So it is like this. If there is one puzzle, one complex arrangement question with 5 questions, net there are only 35 questions to be attempted. If there are 2 puzzles with 5 questions each, net there are only 30 questions to be attempted in reasoning, because those 10 questions are anyway like out of syllabus, will not even touch. So try and do reasoning very quickly. Quickly meaning don't waste your time and choose your questions properly. Aptitude, I think 40 questions, 25 minutes you should do. Remember, the subject here is called numerical ability, so you should expect more questions from simplifications, approximations, number series, these type of topics, which are actually very easy, right? It all depends on your calculation ability. And if you had followed my words where I said practice on your numbers, right, improve your calculation ability, you must be ready for this exam, right? It's going to be really exciting to attempt 80 questions in 45 minutes, right? You have to be very sharp in your calculation, and I'm sure all of you have practiced enough and you have already felt a difference in the way you are doing calculations now, right? Go through that speed maths techniques and videos that we have, learn those techniques and keep practicing. It's very, very important to practice religiously when it comes to your calculations, right? At least 45 minutes to 1 hour a day. Now that we have only 1 week left, you wouldn't find a major change if you do it now, but if you have done it over the last 1-2 months, see, the strategy remains same, whether it is IBPS RRB exams or IBPS clerks or IBPS PO or for that matter SBI PO or SBI clerks. Calculation is needed. I mean, it is the key to score more in quantitative aptitude, right? So just keep focusing more and more on calculations, right? So that's about it. Thank you all for joining us in this session, right? We'll meet again next Wednesday at 6 p.m. and the details of the next session are available on our YouTube channel, right, and the Facebook page. You can follow that and keep practicing until then, right, and take very good care of yourselves. I wish you all the very best for your exam on IBPS RRB Officer Scale 1, which is scheduled this weekend, right? Keep calm, keep composed, don't panic, right? Relax and strategize your preparation for this last 1 week, right? You must probably take at least one mock exam or solve lots of mock papers in this week, right? At least one paper a week, and don't try and think too much about cutoff score, number of questions that you have to attempt and all that stuff. I mean, that it's all impromptu, right? You never know what kind of question would be asked, what will be the difficulty level, etc., right? Most of these things have to be decided there when you are taking the exam. Okay, so be wise, choose your questions wisely and relax. Most importantly, relax, right? At least 1-2 days before the exam, start cutting down on the preparation and practice and relax more and more, because like I always say, these exams are more than the test of your knowledge. These exams will test your state of mind, right? How do you behave in those 45 minutes? And for you to give your best shot, this should help you, and for this part of your body to help you, it should be allowed to relax, right? So don't use it too much, at least 1 day before the exam on preparation, right? Use it for other things that you like, so that you can keep yourself very easy and composed when you are taking the exam there. Okay, so I think that's about it. Please keep practicing and do join us in our next session with your friends, the details of which would be made available on our Facebook page and the YouTube channel. All the very best and take very good care of yourselves. See you.
Hi everyone, welcome to TalentSprint. I'm here with your weekly dose of current affairs. So let's begin with the national news. The Indian Navy has...
Hey guys, a very good evening and welcome to this live session on quantitative aptitude paper solutions from the previous year's IBPS Clerks exam. And as you all know, this session is for the upcoming IBPS Clerks exam, which is scheduled to start in the month of November, right?